Jordan Peterson posted a video on his YouTube channel with a message to Muslims. Now that wasn't unexpected from him, but the fact that this message was released through his new publisher dailywire, a conservative pro-Israel with Ben Shapiro at the top, was not only unexpected, but rather disappointing. The fact that you send your message to the Muslim community from the pro-Israel media filter is a red flag to the Muslim community and the free activists worldwide. It would have been more accurate and logical to send your message to the Zionist community, not Muslims, Christian, or even Jewish people, through that channel. Because the irony of your video is that you spend time speaking to the ones that have reacted and not acted. I'm talking about Muslims being the ones that defend themselves from the injustice forced upon them by Western government. Now tell me, if I bully someone, who would you blame? Me or the person that has been bullied? What you're aiming for is blaming the ones that bullied by the Western powers. Now, is that justice or right? I leave that to you to decide. The second red flag is about Abraham Accords. As you mentioned, bringing peace among all the people of the book, which is really about Israel getting what it wants, not Muslims, by which you're asking in simple words to sign an agreement after seizing everything you have. The third flag was when you advised about stopping the fight between Shia and Sunnis, and the cherry on top of that was when you mentioned Christian and Jewish as the enemy of Muslims. This is precisely what you must say if you want to be under the payroll of dailywire. But Jordan, as a Muslim and a fan of you, I suggest you get back your freedom and critical thinking by not getting under any organization's influence. Because let's be direct and honest here. If you get paid, you must follow their agenda regarding controversial issues and topics. And regards to the fight between Shia and Sunnis, we're not only living peacefully among each other, but we have also proved that when the Shia and Sunnis and the Christians united together to fight ISIS in Iraq and Syria. ISIS, a terrorist group that well-known politician in the US repeatedly been saying was the Western plan and agenda to bring chaos among Muslims. And Muslims don't see Jewish or Christian as their enemy. In fact, they live peacefully in Iran and other Muslim countries. Now let us distinguish between Jewish and Zionist group. Israel does not represent the Jewish community. I assume that an apartheid state isn't what the Abraham religions would approve of, whether it's Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. Next, you advise how we set a goal to convert non-Muslim to Islam. Let me be clear. Muslims don't set goals to bring others to Islam. This isn't a business or a cult. This is a path of life and a system that individuals and societies could help themselves and others to be better people and find their way out to the Almighty. And Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world that tells the rest of the Muslims and me that we don't need to set a goal, because human beings will find their way out to the truth if they follow their instinct and nature. And you're right. We as the people of the book have much more in common than difference. And our differences are clear and obvious. But what you don't realize is that what is going on in Palestine isn't some trinkets and details that we stop squabbling over, but it is the biggest scandal, ripoff, and crime of the 20th and 21st century. We cannot ignore this fact, and indeed we will never forget it until the day that Palestinians get everything they have lost in all these years. This is the real problem. This is the real problem, Jordan. This is what the world needs to see and understand. And this is what all Muslims and free activists have been working their lives to show to the Western countries. Last, you talked about Shia and Sunnis talking to each other and perhaps talking to the Christian and Jews. and build up an electronic system to bring Sunnis and Shiite community together, and Jews and Christians could openly have a conversation. Again, that is old news for us, Jordan. As I talked about the unity among us earlier, I have a better proposal. Is there someone in the Western country to stand against the propaganda system and speak the truth about what is actually going on in other parts of the world, including Palestine and the apartheid state of Israel? If the Western countries stop supporting the radical groups in the Middle East, stop building chaos among other nations, and stop bullying those countries, the world would breathe a sigh of relief. And my final words. Dear Jordan Peterson, I've always been fascinated by your great points and arguments in the past 3 years. I don't expect you to talk about Muslims and Islam, but if you have decided to do so, my least expectation is that you carefully choose your words and sources about Islam and Muslims as you do in regards to other topics you speak about. That has been said, I know as a matter of fact that if you continue working for any under influence organization, you will not be able to speak the whole truth. And I hope you find that as an alarm bell to your logic and freedom.